Hey, Paddles. Hey. Hey guys, it is Thanksgiving today and I wasn't gonna film, but I decided why do this by myself. I'm about to give some of my 4-month-old chickens a Thanksgiving dinner of things that they have not had before. So I've got a plate of goodies. I'm gonna actually put it in their dust bath because I feel like they're gonna be able to see each item pretty good, and I can space it out so that they're not all on top of each other while they're eating. That's one thing I try to do, is not put stuff in one pile, space it out so that they don't fight and they have room to eat comfortably. Now, I did a video last year on what I feed my chickens during the cold winter months, but since it's that time of the year again and I've got some newer chicks that I've added to the family, I thought I would share some of the foods that they're gonna get. Now, my chickens get a wide variety, so keep that in mind. These are just some of the staples that I give them. And one of the things that I do different in the winter is really what I would want for myself. I feed them warm foods. Now, not so much things like mashed potatoes and oatmeal and things like that. It's not that they can't eat those things, but y'all, they really don't like their beaks to get dirty and then they walk around trying to get them cleaned off. But I do like to feed them things like warm carrots or sweet potatoes that haven't been cooked until they're totally mushy, where they're still just a little bit firm, or maybe some warm broccoli, some warm cabbage, things like that. But the key is balance. They need fiber, they need protein and all of that, but you don't want to give them too much of one thing. I definitely give them corn more in the winter than I do in the summer. In the summer, it's more like a treat every now and then, but during the winter, I actually put it in their feed because it helps them stay warm. Now, their feed is actually mixed up ahead of time. So I use the organic layer pellets, I use grit, I use oyster shell, I put a little bit of corn in there and some sunflower seeds so that they've got a variety every time I throw their feed out. And then throughout the day, I add their little treats, but I always want to make sure that they get the core foods first. One of the first things I want to say about feeding chickens is don't stress about it. Y'all, people had chickens for ages before we came out with all the science that we have now. Now, I'm not going to lie, I do like the science because it helps me know some of the things that I shouldn't feed them, how to treat them if they get sick, things like that. So there's nothing wrong with that. And as a good chicken owner or a responsible chicken owner, it's really good just to check those things out before you get them. You want to make sure that you know what things are toxic and that could just really make them sick, because even if it's an accident, we don't want to make our chickens sick. We love our chickens and we want them to be healthy and happy. A couple things that I've seen a lot of people throw to their chickens are onions and also apples. Onions are not good for the chickens and the apples are good for them, but not the seeds. I actually read that apple seeds have a trace of arsenic, and so if you give those to your chickens, it can actually make them sick. Now, I'm not a scientist. You guys do your own research. I just like to get a general idea of what they can and can't have. And I definitely don't give them food that's rotten or spoiled. Now, because they're chickens, they really do eat almost anything, but that doesn't mean that you want to give it to them. Y'all, think about it. Do you want to eat spoiled food? No way. So why would you give it to your chickens who are producing eggs that you eat? Or just in general, you might not want to do that to your beautiful chickens. It might make them sick. Now, it's one thing for me to give them greens or something that are starting to go bad a little bit around the edges, but I certainly don't give them rotten food or food that's been in the fridge for days and it's just nasty and you're like, throw it to the chickens, they'll eat it. Just be careful about what you're feeding them. Be kind to your chickens. Now, if you can afford a good layer pellet feed, that is great because those have a lot of the nutrients that a chicken needs. But if you just really want to have a couple chickens in your backyard and you really can't afford the store-bought layer pellets, then just feed them a well-balanced diet of scraps. And just do a little bit of research if you can, just to make sure that you are giving them that well-rounded diet and not things that they shouldn't have. But if you can afford the layer pellet, that is awesome, and then just add some treats to that. You'll know if what you're doing is working because they'll be laying eggs that are good quality, they're gonna act healthy, their combs are gonna be really red, and they're gonna be active and scratching around. One thing that a lot of people don't know about chickens is that they actually like meat. You guys, they don't eat just plant-based diets. If you think about when they're foraging, they're eating insects and all sorts of things. And y'all, they eat mice and all sorts of things that they can find. And if they can get it down their throat, they're going to. So if you have scraps of meat, they absolutely love that. Just make sure the pieces aren't too big so that they don't get choked or get stopped up. And you know what? That brings me to something else. I see a lot of people throwing really tall grass and long weeds and things like that into their chicken area. And honestly, you guys, even if they can swallow it, it may actually stop them up and keep them from being able to go to the bathroom. So if you're gonna throw them grass cuttings or weeds that are green still and things like that, just do the chickens a favor and take the scissors and cut them up just a little bit. It won't take long at all and they will be so grateful. So just do your best. But if you can afford the layer pellets, that is awesome. And you guys, even if you can't afford to do a full layer pellet diet, if you could afford to buy some, you could give them some of that every day and then supplement with your scraps and other things that you may have from your garden or just from eating your own meals. I'm about to feed new treats to my new chickens. So they are old enough now for me to start incorporating some different foods into their diet. And actually, I've already tried it and they've been scared every time I've kind of thrown some food in here for them to try. It's like they don't know what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do today is get some treats together and just lay them out and see how they do. All right, now I do have a couple roos in here who came in here on their own early on. And I've just kind of left them in here, but I'm not gonna be leaving those roos in here with these 5 or 6 hens. These hens have already been getting a taste of what a juvenile roo is gonna do, and they are not liking it at all. Y'all, these are just mixed, and I'm hoping that some of these girls are gonna actually lay blue eggs, because right now I have one Easter egger hen whose name is Belle, and she is the only one that lays blue eggs. So I'm hoping that these gorgeous hens are gonna start putting out some different colored eggs for me. Now, if they just do brown, that's fine. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. Now that beautiful rooster going right there under the coop, he's pretty violent. When they're juvie roos and they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, they are pretty rough on the girls. And I don't like that. So it's gonna have to go. But I'm in the middle of working all that out right now. But he is gorgeous. All right, so I'm gonna go get their food and just sit here and watch what they do, and hopefully they'll actually enjoy it. Okay, so I've got a plate here and I just put a variety of food items on it, just some of the main staples. Again, they get a lot of variety throughout the year, but we've got corn, boiled eggs, blueberries that are cut in half, sunflower seeds, and baby spinach. And y'all, yes, I feed my chickens their own eggs with the shell because it is super healthy and packed full of protein and calcium and things like that. And they love it. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just put one type of food down, see how they do with it, and then add another one. For those of you that are concerned about how you feed your chickens or concerned about how you'll feed them if you get some, there is not one right way. Are there diets that are better for them? Obviously there are, but you just do your best with what you have. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, the first food item is the boiled egg with the shells, and it looks like it's a hit. That really doesn't surprise me. Chickens love eggs no matter how you give it to them. All right, you guys, so the best way to feed your chickens is by doing the best that you can. Y'all, we've got an audience over here, and don't you worry, all the chickens are gonna get some yummy food. I just wanted to introduce these foods to the new chickens first. All right, so we know that the egg is a hit, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to try these greens. Now, if you have chickens that free range and they've got a lot of grass still, they're not always crazy about the greens. But if you saw how my chickens in the all dirt environment reacted to greens, they go crazy because they just have no access to any kind of grass when they're not free ranging. I wasn't quite sure how these girls and boys were going to do because they still do have some greenery in their area. Right now they're in the dust bath, so it looks like all dirt, but there's a few blades of grass around the edges, although most of it is dying now because it's winter. So I think they'll eat it, but I don't think they're going to be crazy about it like they are the eggs at this point. Come on, kids, eat your veggies. Y'all, they aren't touching that green yet. They are going to learn to love those greens later, but let's move on. They'll probably eat it later this evening. All right, I'm going to give them some sunflower seeds next. Okay, so she is definitely singling out those sunflower seeds, and I bet if she does that, some others will too. Okay, so everybody is loving those, and they really like the ones without the black shell. Now, I do have some with the black shell because I feed those to the birds in my bird feeders, but I can tell that my chickens absolutely do not care for those. If they have a choice at all, they're gonna go for the ones that do not have the shell. So that's what I try to give them. Okay, so I've thrown the corn down. You can see there are some big kernels. Now, I know some people feed whole kernel corn to their chickens. Mine do not like it. If they have to, they'll eat it, but they prefer the cracked corn, which is what I buy. But, you know, there are some whole pieces in there, and those are kind of the last to go. They love the little pieces of corn. Now, these guys have had a lot of egg already and sunflower seeds, so we'll just see. It may take them a while to get to that corn. I'm not sure it's as exciting as some of the other stuff they're getting, but they're definitely pecking at it, just kind of seeing what it is. All right, and finally, I've thrown some blueberries in there. Let's just see what they do. Y'all, this is their first Thanksgiving meal, and they're probably getting pretty full. Okay, there's 4 of them pecking at the blueberries. All right, they're definitely interested in those. Y'all, one of the viewers recommended calling this little bantam chicken that is very similar to pigeon, except for the color, Honey, because of her coloring. And I've been calling her Honey Bell, and I already have a chicken named Bell, but I cannot stop myself. It was supposed to be Honey Hen, and I've been calling her Honey Bell, and it just stuck. So now I've got a Bell and a Honey Bell. She is beautiful, and she sounds like pigeon, and y'all, I am hoping that I have another sweet, sweet chicken. Let me show you. I just opened the gate so she could come in. She wanted to try the food. She was hanging outside the fence. But y'all know, Pigeon is not scared of those big chickens. She hangs out by herself a lot, but she is not scared of them and really holds her own. And so they don't mess with her much. And that's kind of how it's been with Honey Bell. Now, y'all may not be able to see it here, but her back has some golden color, obviously, which is why the viewer came up with Honey. You can see that right there. But when the sun hits her back, it was like a beautiful sage green. Oh, it was gorgeous. So her feathers kind of changed colors. Y'all, I'm so excited to have another one like Pigeon. Hey, Honey Bell. Hey, Honey Bell. Say hi. Oh, look at you. Where'd you go? You ran. All the littles came in, except for Paddles. She does kind of follow me around, and her sounds are just like Pigeon, and it just warms my heart. You are really big. Y'all can't tell by looking at this, but they are huge. The Easter eggers that I have are really big. Honey Bell. How brave she's being with those big chickens. Oh, look, they're gonna take the egg from her. Get it, Honey Bell. Y'all, they are really enjoying this Thanksgiving meal, and they are trying to do their best to clean it up. And honestly, that's a good thing, because if they leave too much out here, then the mice are going to be all over it tonight. All right, guys, it is late afternoon. It's gonna get dark super early and I'm losing daylight and have a lot of chores. And before I start those chores, I wanna make sure that all the chickens and roos get a good Thanksgiving meal. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving and just fall and winter season. And I'll see you real soon in the next video. And until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.